Christians and Muslims, we of course share a number of aspects in our belief in God, and also in our belief in Jesus, that he was sent from God, and we therefore hold him in high regard, and we respect him. But there's also huge differences that, according to the Muslim tradition, Jesus was not crucified, he was not executed, but Allah helped him to escape, and someone else was crucified in his place, and he was taken up directly to heaven. So he did not die, and he was not resurrected. According to the Christian faith, he did die, and his death was an atonement for sin. So there was meaning in his death. He died for us, and God resurrected him from the dead and glorified him. So that's a huge difference. But this difference also goes back to the nature of Jesus, which you were talking about. And this, in turn, goes back to how we view God and God's relationship to his creation. I think here is a major difference, that in Islam, Allah is so transcendent and so different that he has another relationship to his creation than in Christianity. In Christianity, God is of course transcendent, but he's also immanent, and he is also close to human being in another way. So he has created us in his image, a concept which is not part of Islam. So already from the beginning, we are closer to God, being his image. And the whole vocabulary in the two religions are different. So in Islam, you can become the servant of Allah and obey him. In Christianity, you can become the child of God, the daughter and the son of God. And the Christian faith ends, if you read it at the end of the Gospels, with a wedding of Christ and his church. So it's very intimate pictures of the relationship between God and his people. And that is aligned through the whole faith, from the beginning in the Bible to the end, that God really wants to have a reciprocal, a real relationship of communion and love with us, which differs from the Muslim view, where God is above us, and we can enter paradise maybe, but we do not enter into this kind of love relationship with God. And the incarnation stands here as the proof in the Christian faith of how God wants to be close to us. So he creates us in his image. Therefore, there is a form into which he can come. We are already his image. And then in Jesus Christ, he becomes a human being and assumes a human nature, never to leave that. So Jesus was resurrected and ascended into heaven as a human being. Also a divine being, but he was also had a human nature, and he will come back as a human person. So I think here's a huge difference between the two conceptions of God and of man and of Jesus. And for me, the evidence that the Christian conception is true, is the right one, is the resurrection. If one can show that the most reasonable explanation of what has happened in history is that God resurrected Jesus, then God himself has confirmed this whole storyline for us. That is how Paul talks about it in Acts 17, that God has proved this for everyone by raising him from the dead. So the resurrection of Jesus is proof of the identity of Jesus, that he actually was both human and divine.